So my favorite one is, so as much as you say playback, right?
Yeah.
Reg, I think what I do is, I come from the analytics and and kind of the data and analytics landscape, right? And a favorite term that we would always use, in that space is a playbook, right? Is like it's a
Playback, from the
yeah,
playback to the
yeah,
playbook.
playbook, right? And I really like that language too, because I think we've talked about this before as well, is that playback is in the context of the leader, right?
Mhm.
And making the leader better and making their business better, or teaching them how to make their business better. And playbook is in the context of making the whole organization better. And
Mhm.
I think when these two come together, when the playbacks and the playbooks come together, then I think you really are able to permanently shift performance curves. So my thing was really more from the playbook, and we have that. We
Yes.
call it our IPO highway. Like I said again, it's too
Yeah.
tiny here for people to follow and look, but like Reg was saying, do reach out to us. Reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to share with you exactly the details behind this. But it's the IPO highway playbook. And really, the two things that you had there, Reg, to me was one was, and it's, what we refer to as, the first one I'd say is that we refer to this as the
Or no, this is
decisioning
it. This is it
framework.
right here.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's the yeah, it's the image on the bottom. It's the decisioning framework, right? And the decisioning framework really has five key steps to it. And I'm not going to walk through every single one of them, but just know that we have a predetermined framework that we teach every single one of the organizations that are working with us as to how you set yourself up so that you can empirically measure your leadership development
That's right.
initiative, right? It's right from the get-go. It's part of our go forward process. It's the first conversation, believe it or not, it's the first conversation we have with organizations inside of an implementation program.
Well,
And
and I'm sorry, I'm so excited about this. I'm
no,
just
no, go
going to
ahead.
just totally interrupt you and let you get some more tea there. But I like how you kind of combined, and it's why we broke the rules today. We didn't want to go with just one product because the playback and the playbook
Playbook.
are so connected. They're just fun to say together, playback,
Yeah,
playbook,
yeah,
but they are so connected because the playback is the thing that allows a leader to go through an experience that helps them to have, to become better, to be in
yeah,
the know about, what exceptional looks like in a modern way and where they currently stand. And they're going to get, I think with any Rejuvi reporting, I think that there's up to 3,900 leadership data points that we give them to help them to
correct.
understand the strength of themselves and the kind of the strength of how leadership shows up inside of their business. Now, what you're telling me, Vid, is all of this stuff that they're getting, all of these data, thousands of data points inside of their playback now are actually enter a process in the
Correct.
playbook so that the organization can start to understand,
Yeah,
how do we convert this data
right. It's
to,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like the micro, and I'm an economist, so I'll kind of use some economic terms, but hopefully it'll make the case even better. So the playback is all about the micro attributes. It's all about the individual attributes
yes.
that need to be improved. The macro framework, the decisioning framework that I was just referring to, which is one of the two things that were my favorite, in today's conversation. The decisioning framework is the macro framework. Is how do you bring all these micro elements, and how do you then understand and how they're connected to really drive the entire ecosystem, right? So that's the idea here. The
I
decisioning
love it.
framework.
So this is
Yeah,
the playback. The
yeah,
playback is
that's
the
the micro.
micro piece,
Yeah,
right? And that is a real tool.
correct.
Playbacks for all different levels of leaders on the bench. And then the playbook
Is the
is
macro. Yeah,
is the macro. Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
Right, because you're exactly right. What that allows us to do is to take the micro attributes and start to create the micro attributes and start to
yeah,
create a macro understanding, of what are we actually learning inside the organization. And we have the IPO highway playbook,
yeah,
which can be used for any leadership role on the
yeah,
leadership bench, includes both that decisioning framework and the decisioning engine It
Yep.
allows an
Exactly. Yep.
organization to say, hey, guess what, folks? When we improve this micro stuff over here by one standard deviation, then we actually found out that it increased this stuff that's important to us over here by 3.4%, like market
That's
share.
yeah. That's
Mhm.
exactly right. And none of those numbers that you just quoted are fake. Those are real, right? The
No,
the the,
they,
the
yes, they are.
multipliers, right? The
Mhm.
multipliers